bit about their strategy for modeling this thing. And we may even see some answers come in as we're doing this. We don't need the answer here in the chat. We need it on the website at TooTallToby.com. So to do this live solve, we are going to go to TooTallToby.com. This is a place where we've got a library of over 300, almost 350 of these 2D to 3D challenges. So if you enjoy doing these kinds of 2D to 3D challenges and you want a place to go where you can practice and improve your skills, you can see here that as we go down and we look at this library, like I said, we've got over 330 that I've made. We've got 10 or 15 that the user community has made. And these challenges are not just randomly located in here, but they're actually sortable based on what you're looking for. If you're brand new to the world of 3D CAD, you could say, just show me the tier 1 challenges. I want to try and go through and do some kind of beginner's challenges that only take like one sketch and one feature. Okay, so you can kind of get used to doing extrudes and revolves. Or if you come here and you say like, no, I'm already a pro, I'm already a wizard, you could jump into these tier 5 challenges that require things like multi-body design and sweeps and draft and really kind of thinking through the order of feature creation, or even go even higher. So we've got an awesome library for you here. Be sure to check it out, TooTallToby.com. And what we do every week on Model Monday Live is we do one of these challenges, and then we look at the first 42 people that submitted their answer from the time the challenge was released. This one here, 26-06-06, we just released this a few minutes ago. Okay, we released it about 3 minutes ago at 1:43 p.m. And now we are going to try to solve this using Fusion. So the cool thing about the TooTallToby website is that you can actually get in here and you can adjust your profile and declare what CAD system you're using. It is truly CAD agnostic, so you can do these solves using any CAD system. And so recently I was doing a little bit of practice using SolidWorks. Now I'm going to jump back and do some practice using Fusion. So I'm going to set my user account to be using Fusion. And that way, when I look back at the history of the models, I can tell which models I did using SolidWorks, and I can tell which models I did using Fusion. That's the cool thing. We actually track which CAD systems you're using as you're solving these challenges. So I'm going to get in here and I'm going to say I'm going to solve this thing using Fusion. Let's get into it here. We can see this is a tier 4 challenge, and we're going to say click here to begin. And wow, we only released this thing about 4 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, and 6 people have already solved this. Congratulations to everybody who solved it so far. So let's get into it here. Let's click here to begin. My name is Toby. I'm using Fusion. I'm from the United States, and this thing is called Short Signpost. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. And so the question here is, what is the mass of this part in xx.xxx pounds? Tolerance is plus or minus 0.004 pounds. And we're going to enter that answer right down here in this validation field. And so I'm going to click on this button that says open in a new window. That way I can make this just a little bit bigger, make it a little easier for me to see what I'm working on here. And before we jump into this thing, let's talk about game plan. So when it comes to a game plan for modeling, the first thing I always ask myself is, where should the origin be located? And on a model like this, the origin is going to be located right here, right at the middle of the part. Makes it very easy for you to mate that part with other parts in an assembly. Everything is kind of, arraying outward from the origin, or from that center point of that main square. You might say, why not put it down here? Well, when you go to put this thing into an assembly, it might be easier to locate this using planes to define the location. And if those planes are going right through the middle, then you can just define the location right to the center of those planes. It might be easier to align other parts, like the actual sign that's going to go on the signpost, right down the center of the part. So that's why you would opt to pick the origin at the middle of the part rather than the corner. A lot of times it's not just thinking about this one part, but it's also thinking about how it's going to exist in your overall design, in your overall assembly. So now the next question is, what's my first sketch going to be? Now, this is where things get kind of interesting, and where if you think ahead a little bit, you can actually save yourself some time and some energy. And so when it comes to my sketches, I always prefer to take the method of keeping your sketches simple. So my first sketch is going to be a rectangle centered on the origin, 2 by 2 inches. And then I'm going to take that rectangle and I'm going to extrude it to 48 inches. Now you might say, why not just add in the fillets there on that sketch? And the answer is because it's easier for me personally to manage a model when I've got the fillets separated out into their own feature. It allows me some flexibility. Later on, I might want to make a version of the part where those fillets are suppressed. So I might want to turn off the feature, but not completely delete it. And it's just a lot easier to do that if that fillet is a feature. So I'm going to add the fillets second. Now, the next question might be, well, why would you add the fillets before you do the shell? You have to add a fillet here on the inside, and you have to add a fillet here on the outside. But if we just take a moment as we're planning, we look at this number here, we can see that this number 0.1875 minus this number, 0.125, equals this number, 0.0625. So what that tells me is I can add the fillets first and then add the shell, and that's going to save me some time because I'm not going to need to add the fillets on the outside and then add the fillets again on the inside. I can just do those kind of together, have that propagate through. Now, do we know for sure that that's how this thing is going to be manufactured? We don't know for sure, but we know at least from our engineering and design experience that that is almost certainly going to be the case, that the inside radius is always going to equal the outside radius minus the wall thickness. That's not like a crazy idea or anything like that. It's pretty common in engineering. So we can make that assumption and go with that as part of our game plan. So now we've got this thing hollowed out. We've got the radii on the corner. We're in good shape. Now it's time to start adding in the holes. So how are we going to construct these holes? Well, the one thing you want to think about when it comes to these holes is really how are you going to get it on all four sides of the post? And the reason this is important is because it could affect your decision as far as how to make these holes. You know, if you were to create this hole here, this first hole here, on the center of the part and extrude it outward, you could create on the center and you could extrude it outward. That's going to give you a feature that's nice and easy to do a circular pattern with to get that onto all four sides. So that might be one way that you could accomplish this. You could do it with a circular pattern. You could also maybe sketch it on the outer face of this thing and then extrude it. But if you do it that way and then you extrude it through, then you have to be careful because now you're going to have the hole on both sides, and that might make it a little bit more tricky to do the circular pattern. Now, some of these things are hard to explain and they're easier just to experience, just to go through with your experience, but you do want to think about these things. You know, maybe what you would do is you would do an extrusion up to a surface. So you could take this hole here and you could do an extrusion up to a surface. But if you get really deep into 3D CAD, what you start to learn is that a lot of times the pattern, so if we did an extrusion here, a cut extrude, and we did up to surface on this inside surface here, well, a lot of times when you go to create a pattern, the pattern instances will also try to go up to that same surface. So for example, if we create a pattern over here for this hole, let me make this one here in blue just so we can kind of see this. Make a pattern over here to this hole. That hole is going to try to cut extrude up to surface and cut extrude up to this surface as well. And what's going to happen? It's going to fail because those two surfaces are perpendicular to one another. So doing an extrusion up to surface might actually cause a problem when we go to do the pattern. Now, I'm sharing this with you because it's just kind of a good example of where kind of thinking through the challenge and using what you already know about 3D CAD can help you save time. And the best way to learn about that stuff is just to do a lot of practice. Just to get in here and do a lot of practice. And when you do get an error, try to figure out really what the error message is saying and why it's failing, and then adjust accordingly, but also remember that for future applications. So for me, what I would do is I would either draw this hole, this red hole here. I would either draw this hole in the middle of the part and extrude through all in one direction, and then I would do a pattern at 90 degrees for the other three instances. Or if I draw it on this outside surface, what I would do is I would make sure that I only maybe go blind and then use the same wall thickness, something like that. So I think given those two choices, I'm probably going to opt to do it from the center of the model outward because it just makes it one less thing that I have to remember to manage, like the blind wall thickness, something like that. You could also maybe use like up to next. That might help as well, but that could definitely work. Kate says that she did it using a through all and then mirrored across a 45-degree plane. Oh, I like that too. So you could drop in a mirror plane here, and then you could mirror it over to here and then just mirror both of those. Or actually, no, sorry, you already have it through all. It's already going through all here. So then you could just drop in a mirror plane, and then you could do a mirror over in this direction. I like that too. That's pretty cool. That's the cool thing about the models, and the cool thing about the community is that a lot of times people will upload their run, their modeling run, and then you can go back and you can look and see how somebody else did it, and then you can kind of model it up that way. So I know you might feel like we're taking kind of an exorbitant amount of time here to come up with a game plan. Let's see what the clock is saying. So we actually took 6 minutes to come up with a game plan there. And I also realize this looks like it's kind of a simple part, but I just think it's really interesting to examine what happens when you do a cut extrude that you're going to use for a pattern, and just to kind of like put yourself in that mindset where you're like, well, let me think, if I did this, what would happen? If I did this, what would happen? And just kind of think through some of those different examples, those different scenarios. So with that all in mind, let me move this over here to the side here so we can see what's going on with this clock. Maybe I'll make the clock just a little bit smaller. And let me move Fusion here onto the main screen so that we can see how this is done using Fusion. And then finally, let me just bring up my keyboard cam so you can see if I'm using any keyboard shortcuts, which of course the main keyboard shortcut I'm going to be using here is going to be the S key. We love the S key keyboard shortcut. All right, let's get into it here in Fusion. The first thing that I'm going to do is look at my units here, and I'm going to click on the Change Active Units button, and I'm going to change this to inches. However, when I do change it to inches here, the default is that I'll have inches and ounces, and that's not what I want, so I'm going to go to Custom, and then I'm going to change this to inches and to pounds. So then I'm going to choose OK there. And now the next thing that I'm going to do with this design is I'm going to create a new sketch on the top plane. So we're going to go here to our different planes. We're going to find the top plane. We're going to right click, choose to create a new sketch. Now we're going to press the S key on our keyboard. We've got a video queued up, ready to release, talking about some of my favorite shortcut keys in the world of Fusion. And definitely the S key is my favorite in the world of Fusion. So now we're going to move this over here, and then we're going to type in 2, and we're not going to press enter here. This is something that, as a SolidWorks user moving to Fusion, I had to learn this, kind of learn it the hard way, but we're not going to press enter here. We're going to press tab, and then we're going to press 2 again. And then if we wanted to make more rectangles, we click somewhere else. If we're done with the rectangle, we'll just press enter there. So boom, we're done with that one. Now, the next thing that we're going to do here with this S key menu is we're going to see that instead of needing to go up to solid extrude, right here within sketch mode, we can press S and then we can press extrude because we mapped that into our S key menu. So we can bring this up here to a height of 48, enter, and boom, there is our first feature. Nice fully defined sketch, and that's what we like to see there in the graphics area. So now we're going to press the S key again. Now here at the feature level, we have a different group of commands in the S key menu, including the fillet command. So S key fillet, and now we can choose to add a fillet here. Look how I can just pick right through the model. Love it. Here, here, and here. And then when I'm done picking, I can let go of my mouse. And if you notice over here in this area, Fusion is saying, go ahead, type in your radius. You know, you type in your radius and you're good to go. So as soon as I click that last edge, I just let go of my mouse and I type 3/16 or 0.1875 and enter, and done with that feature. Now we move on to the next feature, S key shell. So I've got the shell command mapped in here. How did I get that mapped in there? What I did was I just typed in here shell, and then I just, over here on the right, I click on this button to add that to my shortcuts. So S key, now shell is just there waiting for me. And then for my shell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this face up top here and this face down on the bottom here. So we got to make sure we remember to select both of them. You can see that in the top view on the drawing that the model is totally hollow going all the way through. So that shell is going to be 0.125 and enter. And then if we zoom in here on the model and we click on this face here, we can see that down in the corner, Fusion tells us, just gives us a little bit of, quick feedback. That radius is 0.0625. That's what it's called out as on the drawing. So that's good. We are cooking here. Let's go. So now we're ready to move on to the next feature, which is going to be one of those holes. So here again, per our game plan, we're just going to go right back to this plane that's at the center of the model. We can press the S key. We can choose to begin a new sketch. I've added that to my S key as well. Actually, I think that one might be on there by default. And now we're going to create a sketch. And then a little trick that I've learned from watching many speed modeling competitions is to locate this hole, we'll sketch a vertical line. So S key line, single click here, move up, let go of our mouse, 0.75, enter, S key, circle, single click here, move our mouse away, let go of our mouse, 0.375, enter. Now S key, extrude. And what do we want to extrude? We want to extrude this shape here. And what do we want to do with that shape? We want that shape to be a cut, which happens automatically because I dragged it through a solid. And then for our extent type, we can just make that all, have that hole going through all, and okay. Boom, done with that hole. Now we're ready to take that hole and make a pattern of it. So we choose here the rectangular pattern. If you use patterns a lot, you could add that to your S key as well. Rectangular pattern. And then what are we going to pattern? This is where things get a little bit tricky here. What are we going to pattern? We're going to pattern features. So the feature that we're going to pattern here is going to be this hole, and you can just put your mouse out here. It's pretty easy to just click on a face of the hole, and then you click in the second box here for the axis. And then what's nice is in Fusion, the axes automatically show up here, so you can just right away pick on this axis here, and boom, you're creating that pattern. Now, what's the distance of the pattern? The distance is going to be 1 inch hole spacing, typical, but you'll notice here that if I choose 1 inch hole spacing here, the distribution is set to extent. So what does that mean exactly? Zachy? Well, it means that if I start grabbing this number 3 here and increasing it, I'm just padding more and more holes there in that overall 1-inch space, and that's not what we want. So here in Fusion, we want to make sure that we change this from extent to spacing. Okay, and what that does for us is it sets us up so that now we can increase the number of instances here, and this number here is going to not represent the total distance, but it's going to represent the spacing between those instances. Now, how many instances do we need on this pattern? This is something that I really like about this challenge. When I built this challenge, I thought this would be like kind of a fun part. This is what makes these models fun. I didn't tell you what the number of instances is for the pattern. I just showed you in that detail view towards the top of the post that this final hole here is at a distance of 2.25, and I showed you what the geometry of the slot looks like. So you kind of have to figure that out as you're going through, and it might take some trial and error. Maybe you start out by adding in too many holes, and so then when you go to create the slot ends up like kind of overlapping with some of those holes. Or maybe you put too few holes, and so then when you create the slot ends up coming too short compared to those holes. So I thought that was kind of just like a fun element of this design. I'm going to put in 46 here and see if that gets me pretty close. We'll see what happens, and I'm going to press enter, and there is that linear pattern for those holes. Now we can create a new sketch on this face here. So pick this face, S key, sketch, create a new sketch there. I am going to have to pan up here to get to the top of this thing, or zoom out and zoom in to get to the top of this thing, and then S key, and I've got the slot command mapped here to my S key menu, and so we'll take that slot command and we'll pick up the midpoint, and then we'll drop that down here like so. It's going to come down to a distance of 1.520, and then I'll press enter there and enter. Okay, and then I'll just click in or just kind of move my mouse over here, and then we'll put in a distance here of 0.250 and enter. And let's see, did we get both of those dimensions driving in there? We definitely got the 0.25. I don't see the 1.520 S key dimension. Click on this line here, 1.520. I'm gonna have to practice that run a little bit more to get that one correct. And so this one, whoops, I did this one incorrectly, right? I should have put this one on that centered face, but I think we can still pattern both of them. I did mean to originally put that on that middle face of the model. A little bit of a misstep there, but not that big of a deal. What we can do here is we can still S key extrude, and I think that I'll just kind of grab this region here and extrude it through with a blind depth. I think we should still be okay there. And so we hit OK, and there we go. There's our cut for the slot up at the top. And now we're ready to take these 3 features and turn them into a pattern, turn them into a circular pattern. Now, this is a spot where it can be helpful to use the timeline. So here we see the timeline down here at the bottom of the screen. What we can do is we can choose pattern, and you'll notice here that I choose rectangular pattern, but the other options are here. Circular pattern is here. So I choose rectangular pattern, then I just choose circular pattern. Then for the object, make sure you choose features, and then for the objects here, you can just go into your timeline, and you can find that first sketch. That first cut, the first hole. You can find the pattern of the holes, and then you can find the slot up top. And then here for the axis, we can do what we did in the earlier example. We can choose this axis here that's running right up through the middle of the part. And then finally, we just choose the number of instances. See, the distribution here says full, so it's going around that full circle and full 360 circle. And yes, that looks good. That looks like what we want. So we choose OK, and there is our circular pattern. And yep, that worked up top as well. And I think that should pretty much bring us down the home stretch for this model. We see on the drawing that the model is intended to be built from plain carbon steel. So we go over here to the top of the tree, right click, and we say physical material. And then we're going to change that to the TooTallToby material of plain carbon steel. Drag and drop that onto the part and choose close. And then we're going to right click and we're going to say properties. And we are coming up with an answer here of 11.545 pounds. So we come back over here to the app. Let's see if we got it correct. 11.545 and enter. And yes, we did it. Yo, that's what I like to see. We did it, and we did it with we get that purple screen to show up. We're always happy to see that purple screen show up. That means we did it. We got it on the first try. Let's go. Always good to finish those challenges on the first try. So I'm going to say submit here, and now my time will be added to that leaderboard with all of yours. Wow, 22 people solved this thing in that short period of time since I released it. I released it at about 20 minutes ago. So in just 20 minutes, we had 22 people solve that thing. That is awesome. And if you enjoy doing those challenges, be sure to visit us at TooTallToby.com. We got a lot more challenges for you. If you enjoyed that Fusion tutorial, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. And guys, thank you all so much. I feel like I am winning if I beat any GUI CAD user. Yes, indeed. And guys, if you haven't seen Jern's channel, be sure to take a look at it. He's got some really cool stuff using Build 123D. It's very cool to see you modeling there using code. So guys, thank you all so much. Congratulations to everyone. That is going to wind down the show here. And